In a small village surrounded by towering mountains in southern China, there lived a curious young bunny named Shiwei. Shiwei was full of questions. More questions than anyone in the village could answer. Why does the sun rise from the east? How does the wind carry the smell of flowers all the way to our home? And are the old legends about Cloud Mountain really true? Cloud Mountain was the tallest mountain anyone had ever heard of. So tall, its peak disappeared into the clouds. The village elders said whoever reached the top would be granted a gift from the sky. Not riches or jewels, but wisdom and courage that could never fade. Yet for as long as anyone could remember, no one had dared to climb Cloud Mountain. The path was said to be full of tests, challenges, and unknown mysteries. But Shiwei, with his boundless curiosity, decided that one day he would see the truth for himself. One sunny morning, after packing a small bag with a carrot for lunch and a bottle of water, Shiwei set off on his journey to the legendary mountain. Shiwei hopped through the woods, the tall trees casting shadows that danced in the morning light. As he wandered deeper, he heard soft laughter coming from the bushes. Out jumped a clever little monkey named Bao. Bao swung from a low branch, his bright eyes glinting with mischief. "If you want to climb Cloud Mountain," Bao said, scratching his head, "then you must first pass the test of wits." Shiwei tilted his head, intrigued. Bao pulled out 3 wooden boxes and placed them in a row. Only one box contains the map to Cloud Mountain. The other 2 hold tricks that will send you back to the start of the forest. Choose wisely. Bao gave him one clue. The correct box is the lightest one. Wisdom isn't always loud and heavy. It's often quiet and simple. Shiwei picked up each box, testing their weight. One was much lighter than the others. With a small smile, he tapped it open, and inside was the map to Cloud Mountain. Bao clapped his hands with delight. "Well done, you passed the test of wits!" As he handed Shiwei a smooth little stone carved with swirling patterns, Bao said, "Keep this stone. Whenever you feel afraid, hold on to it and remember, every challenge can be solved with patience and clear thinking." Shiwei thanked Bao and tucked the stone into his bag, feeling a little more confident as he stepped out of the forest. As soon as Shiwei left the forest, he found himself standing at the edge of a rushing river. The water sparkled, but the wind was so strong, it blew leaves and twigs into the air like tiny whirlwinds. Shiwei decided to build a stone bridge to cross the river, but every time he stacked a few stones, the wind knocked them down, sending them splashing into the water. He sat down by the river, frustrated, unable to figure out what to do. Suddenly, he heard a calm voice behind him. "Strength alone won't help against the wind." Shiwei turned to see a wise old turtle named Yu making his way toward him. The turtle's shell shimmered in the sunlight, and his slow movements seemed peaceful and deliberate. "What should I do then?" Shiwei asked. Yu smiled. "Watch the wind, little bunny. Everything has a rhythm. The wind knows when to rest, and that is when you place the stones, patiently and carefully." Shiwei stood at the river's edge and began paying attention to the wind. He noticed that it came in bursts, followed by moments of calm. Following Yu's advice, he stacked stones during the stillness, taking breaks when the wind picked up again. Slowly but surely, he built his bridge and made it across the river. Yu handed Shiwei a small tea leaf, its deep green color shining like jade. "Drink tea made from this leaf whenever you feel tired," Yu said kindly. "It will refresh your energy." Shiwei bowed with gratitude and tucked the tea leaf into his bag, feeling proud of his accomplishment. After walking for hours and climbing steep trails, Shiwei finally reached the summit of Cloud Mountain. He stood at the edge of the peak, looking out at the breathtaking view. Below him, the village was a tiny speck, surrounded by fields of green and golden wheat. Above him, the clouds floated in gentle, endless waves. But there was no treasure chest waiting for him, no bag of gold or sparkling jewels. Shiwei felt a little disappointed at first, but then he noticed something strange. As he stood there, surrounded by the peaceful silence of the clouds, something inside him began to change. His heart felt stronger, his mind clearer, and he realized he wasn't afraid of the challenges he'd faced anymore. The wind whispered softly in his ears. "Your gift is wisdom and courage, young bunny. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's moving forward even when you're scared. And wisdom isn't something you are born with. It's earned through patience, effort, and experience." Shiwei closed his eyes, letting the wind's words sink in. He gripped his smooth stone tightly and felt the courage it promised. He would never forget the lessons he'd learned from Bao, Yu, or the journey itself. That evening, Shiwei returned to the village. His fur was dusty, and he was tired from the adventure. But he wasn't just a curious bunny anymore. He was brave, wise, and ready to help others find their own path to courage. The villagers welcomed him home with cheers and smiles. From that day on, Shiwei became a little teacher to anyone who needed advice. He shared his stories about the Forest of Shadows, the Windy River, and the summit of Cloud Mountain, reminding everyone that wisdom and courage don't come from riches. They come from trying, failing, and trying again. Challenges can be intimidating, but they hold the keys to wisdom and courage. Be patient, stay curious, and remember, nothing worth achieving comes without effort and heart.